Good morning, gang. Happy Friday. So, another week done. God knows I'm finally trying to get caught up with some of this stuff. It's Thursday evening for me and trying to even get my head above water with everything that's been going on here work wise and around my house and everything like that. In the last week has been crazy. So, I'm a little late with this one, but I kind of wanted to talk just a little bit about our illustrious number 46's speech on Wednesday night. Now, if you watched it, which I'm assuming you didn't, considering he had 11.6 million people watch it, so he barely beat the record low turnout that watched the Oscars the other day, and, is only some 30 million people less than watched Trump's first State of the Union. So, obviously not a whole lot of people interested in watching Joe stand there in front of a teleprompter for an hour. The interesting part, though, in kind of listening to bits and pieces of it and reading on it, though, is I am firmly convinced, you may be, you may not be, that the left is bound and determined to start civil war in this country. Okay? And I don't think they want it between the North and the South. I don't think they want it even between conservatives and liberals. Okay? They are flat out coming out and saying they want a race war in this country. Okay? And hear me out on this one. All right? Anybody that voted for Trump is considered a white supremacist. Doesn't matter if you're black, you're a white supremacist, okay? If you voted for Trump, okay? And in Biden's speech on Wednesday night, he basically came out and said the biggest terrorist threat in the United States right now is white supremacy. Now, I'll give you a little bit of history here on me, okay? Obviously, I'm a white guy, okay? If you missed that by now, you're probably blind. But, okay, I was born and went through 7th grade in Chicago in a typical middle-class suburban neighborhood. Dad worked for American Motors. We got transferred up to Michigan in 1979. Now, where we moved, and for those of you in Michigan, you'll know this, we wound up in Oakland County. So I went to high school in Michigan. Now, Oakland County is very heavily populated amongst Jews and amongst Chaldeans. And if you're not familiar with who Chaldeans are basically what would be modern day Iraqis. All right. So I went through high school being the, as I was called all the time by the Jews, the goy. All right. It's a Jewish term for non-Jews. Well, of course, here I am. I'm the white Protestant kid in, a heavily Jewish, heavily Chaldean school. No big deal. All right. I had my best friend in high school was Jewish. No big deal. All right. My brother's best friend was Chaldean. So figure that one out. All right. So obviously we must be really white supremacists here. Now, I'll go into other parts of it. My heritage being Polish and Czech. Okay. Former Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic now. Okay. Was Czechoslovakia under the Soviet Union, the Iron Curtain, that sort of stuff. All right. I had family members, I still have family members that live in both Poland and Czech Republic. I told you guys before, I've actually gone out to visit them and meet them and do all this sort of stuff. Distant relatives now at this point, because I'm third generation here. But yeah, I had family members that were persecuted and killed in concentration camps by the Nazis. I also had family members that were persecuted and killed by the Soviets. All right. So, yeah, white supremacy with me, not quite getting too far. Hell, I'm ex-military. Let's go this. I served with guys that were black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever would be. And as we all said, we all bled green. Okay. That was it. We had each other's back. Doesn't matter. So for the liberals to call me or anybody who's white a white supremacist is an extreme insult. Now, I will say this. I totally get that you have small members of the Aryan Nation, the KKK, whatever would be, the David Dukes of the world, okay, if he's even still alive, hell, I don't even know. Robert Byrd, oh yeah, he was a Democrat and he was part of the KKK, okay, senator from West Virginia. But, neither here nor there, it's okay if you're a Democrat, it's, whatever. I have zero, absolutely no respect for anybody that is a white supremacist, okay? I also have zero, no respect for anybody that's a black supremacist, a Hispanic supremacist, a Jewish supremacist, a Muslim supremacist, whatever it would be, okay? So I find it very insulting and very ironic that Joe gets up and basically decides to call roughly half the country terrorists the other day. All right, we're now all white supremacists. We voted for Trump, therefore we are a white supremacist. Now, last time I checked, I had no control over the color of my skin when I was born. Okay, I had no control over anything before I was born. So, crucifying me because of the way I was born is no different than what they supposedly are fighting against, where, well, you can't, let's go back 100 years or 150 years or whatever it is, when blacks were treated as subhuman, for lack of a better word, 3/5 and all this sort of stuff, okay? What was their crime? The way they were born. Did they have anything to do with it? No. What did we figure out 160 years ago? Hey, this is wrong, okay? So now we're getting the present administration trying to flip the tables. And the ironic part is this. The House Intelligence Committee leader, okay, the one who wants to get the DOJ to start arresting all these white supremacists, like I said, go get the KKK guys, go get that. Please don't tell me Proud Boys is a white supremacy thing as much as you see it all over there. The leader of the Proud Boys, first off, Proud Boys was created as a joke, okay? But the leader, the guy who was the first one to do the joke, is Hispanic, okay? He's not even white. So don't tell me they're a white supremacy group. That's just about the biggest bunch of BS I've ever heard. But so now what you're getting is the liberals basically declaring war on the middle class whites, primarily white males. Hello, that would be me, all right, and a lot of you. Now, I know there's plenty of you guys here who are female, Hispanic, black, Muslim, whatever. And a lot of you all said, the one thing that's really nice about this channel is everybody's very respectful of each other in the comments, okay? And that's the way it's supposed to be. We as the people of this country, the ones that those yahoos up in Washington are supposed to represent, don't hold the same animosity toward each other that they think we do. Are there bad people of all races, religions, and creeds in this country? Absolutely. But here's my question, all right? And I'm going to get into a little bit more on it for a second. Remember a couple of years ago when Trump made the comment about all the murderers and criminals and rapists that were coming across the border? And the Democrats crucified him, saying he's calling all Hispanics rapists and murderers. Now, we all know that wasn't true, okay? Yes, there are some. We get it, okay? We all know cartels exist and coyotes bringing these kids over and stuff like that, okay? It's not everybody. So where's the difference between Trump saying that, which was ultimately taboo, and Biden flat out saying, and Congress and Adam Schiff for brains, who's running the intelligence community, saying we need to get more people to arrest the whites for voting for Trump because they're white supremacists. Now, double standard here. What they're trying to do is, pit everybody against each other, as a race war. If you all remember a couple of weeks ago, there was the farm bill that came out, okay? A farm subsidy program, where minority farmers were going to be given, okay, all this farm subsidy to, because of their crops and land and everything. The government was going to give them a massive amount of handouts. You were not eligible to get that assistance from the government if you were a white farmer. Explain to me how that is not racism. This is what I'm saying. What they're trying anywhere and everywhere they can to pit white people against black people, against Hispanic people, against Muslims, against Asians, whatever it would be. They are trying to set us up for a race war. They're trying to stoke the pot to get you to hate your neighbor, your fellow man, because that works for their agenda. Again, it makes no sense to me why you would try to push away half the population. I mean, you call every white person a white supremacist, and unless you're an idiot, i.e. Adam Schiff and the cast of clowns that are in Washington, who are white, by the way, they're basically looking in the mirror and saying, "Hi, I'm a white supremacist." Oh, no, you know what? They're not, because it's rules for thee and not for me, okay? Everybody else who's white is a white supremacist, but not me. I'm better than that, okay? All they're going to do is push everybody away. So I can only hope that in 2022 they get their clock cleaned. And I know you guys give me crap for believing in elections all the time, but I gotta, okay? It's just, I still believe in the underlying principle of the United States of America, all right, which is free elections. Yes, I know. Don't remind me about 2020. I know all too well, okay? But this is something that we really need to prep for, because it could turn out very soon that you're going to go back to lunch counters, the back of the bus, whatever. This is what they're trying to drive, guys. Please understand that. This is a store for blacks only. This is a store for Hispanics only. And you're not going to be allowed to go in. So, let's say you live in a small town. And the small town all of a sudden, is, let's say it's 50-50. Okay, and again, very generalizing here. 50-50. Let's say the town is 50% Hispanic and 50% white. Okay, that, for some goofy reason, no Asians, no blacks, no Muslims, ever moved into this area. Okay, very possible. I mean, I'd say, this might be a Texas border town. I'm stereotyping here, guys, but making a point. All right. What if it comes to a point where, oh, Pinball, you're white, you can't go in these stores. Oh, Jose and Maria, sorry, you're Hispanic, you can't go into these stores. What if it's a tiny town and there's one grocery store and you're not allowed to go in? What if there's one hardware store? You're not allowed to go in. What if there's one gas station? You're not allowed to go in. Okay. That's kind of my point, guys. This is what the Biden administration is trying to do. They are trying to start a race war. Not North and South, not Republican, Democrat, not conservative, liberal. They are trying to start a race war. That is the exact reason for bringing everybody over the border. They are trying to stoke the pot and make this an issue. This is something that you really, really need to fight against, and you really, really, really need to prep for, okay? Because your neighbor, whatever race, color, or creed, who you've borrowed the lawnmower, they've watched your kids, you've gone out to dinner, whatever it is, literally, they are trying to make you hate each other. And that is just wrong. And that is the representation we have in Washington, D.C. right now. Something to think about. Have a good Friday. Pinball out.